Welcome back, everyone. Today, we're diving right into deconstructing The Little Billionaire, specifically that incredibly tense climax of Episode 5, Trapped in Detention. I mean, if you've been following the tension between Ethan and the school administration, you know it's just been building and building to an absolute boiling point. So, we're going to break down the exact mechanics of how this scene goes from a terrifying trap to an absolute triumph, literally line by line. Let's get right into it.
Okay, let's dive into this cold open. Did you really think you could walk into my territory alone? Wow. This threat, hurled by Principal Vance, sets the stakes instantly. Vance isn't just handing out detention here, right? He is declaring a state of total control. To him, the school isn't just a building, it's his personal domain, his literal hunting ground. By throwing this question out there, he's trying to highlight Ethan's vulnerability, painting him as this foolish little kid who just wandered straight into the lion's den without backup. It's a classic, textbook intimidation tactic, totally designed to induce immediate panic. But intimidation requires exactly the right setting. Imagine the scene for a second. The door clicks shut, and suddenly you are completely, utterly cut off from the outside world. We really have to appreciate how the writers meticulously constructed this feeling of absolute isolation. Think about it. A 10-year-old child is locked in a pitch-black, soundproof room with a grown, highly trained operative. The atmosphere is just deeply suffocating. The environment itself is weaponized against our protagonist before a single move is even made. And this brilliantly illustrates how rapidly the trap is sprung. First, the windows tint pitch black, instantly removing any visual connection to safety or anyone who could be watching. Second, the room becomes entirely soundproof, meaning no one can hear a cry for help. The trap is completely sealed. Finally, step 3, the physical threat manifests as Vance stands up, leaning over his desk to cast this massive, looming shadow over Ethan. This whole sequence of events, it happens in mere seconds. It's a rapid-fire escalation that takes your standard school discipline trope and twists it into a high-stakes cinematic thriller sequence. Now look at the physical reactions, because the body language here tells a whole story on its own. We've got this stark contrast in a sort of micro-narrative. On one side, Vance is relying on pure primal physical intimidation. He stands, he leans, he looms. He's literally trying to use his size and age to dominate the space. But then, check out Ethan's response. Does he cower? Does he shrink away? Absolutely not. Ethan simply leans back, crossing his legs. This is the posture of someone who is incredibly relaxed, casually observant, and just completely unbothered. It's this untouchable, calm confidence that completely short-circuits Vance's physical threat. And that brings us to this massive psychological reversal. We're entering the phase of the scene where the power dynamic doesn't just shift, it violently flips entirely upside down. See, Vance thinks he holds all the cards because he controls the physical space. But Ethan's calmness, it tells us the real battle isn't physical at all. It's intellectual. It's strategic. This is exactly where we watch a presumed victim seamlessly transition into the one who is actually pulling all the strings. To really understand how Ethan executes this flip, we have to redefine the core concept of the scene: territory. Now, Vance uses the word to mean physical control. He's the principal, this is his office, he locked the doors, therefore he rules the space. It's a very primitive, brute force way of looking at the world. But Ethan defines territory through a completely different lens: financial and technological ownership. Ethan realizes that in the modern world, the guy with the keys to the door is nothing compared to the guy who owns the code to the electronic locks. He intellectually outmaneuvers this dangerous operative simply by operating on a completely higher level of power. Which brings us to this incredibly important number, 10. Ethan is a 10-year-old billionaire. I just want you to think about that for a second. Have you ever been in a situation where you were completely underestimated because of your age or your appearance, or maybe your title? Vance looks at Ethan and basically says, "You're still just a child." He allows his prejudice about Ethan's age to completely blind him to the reality of Ethan's resources. And honestly, this is the emotional anchor of the entire show. We root for Ethan because he takes that underestimation and turns it into his absolute greatest weapon. Now, what's really interesting about this is the exact moment Ethan actually deploys that weapon. It's the ultimate mic drop moment. He looks right at Vance and asks, "Who do you think paid for the school's new multi-million-dollar security upgrade last month?" Just let the weight of that question sink in for a second. In one single sentence, Ethan completely shatters Vance's reality. Vance thought he was utilizing the school's high-tech security to trap a kid, only to find out that this kid is the sole reason that technology even exists in the first place. It's a breathtaking reveal of hidden financial leverage that immediately neuters Vance's physical threat. Let's break down the surgical precision of Ethan's counterattack here. It's a rapid, three-step dismantling of Vance's presumed authority. First, he addresses the threat of isolation by confirming he's never actually alone. Second, he flat-out rejects Vance's claim over the territory. And third, the absolute knockout punch. He reveals he owns the software. He doesn't just own the cameras or the doors, he owns the very code that runs the entire building. This dialogue is so incredibly tight. Ethan doesn't waste a single syllable. He systematically dismantles every single advantage Vance thought he had, and he does the whole shebang in under 10 seconds. Let's move on and see how this builds into an explosive finale. Because dialogue is great, but a thriller needs action, right? And this is where the intellectual chess match suddenly explodes into high gear. Ethan's verbal takedown was really just the setup. Now we get the physical payoff. The psychological dominance Ethan just established is about to take a very real, very dangerous physical form right there in the room. Look at the perfectly choreographed mechanics of this reveal. Step 1. The ceiling ventilation shaft forcefully bursts open, completely shattering the dead silence of that soundproof room. Step 2. A high-tech drone drops straight down from the ceiling. Step 3. A targeting laser locks dead onto Vance's chest. This drone serves as the ultimate technological equalizer. Sure, Vance has adult size and combat training, but absolutely none of that matters against a heavily armed piece of automated technology dropping from above. The trap Vance thought he built has literally just become his own cage. So the crucial point is right here. Target locked. This visually and viscerally completes the narrative reversal. The dangerous operative who was just looming over a child is now completely frozen with a laser sight on his heart. The predator has literally instantly become the prey. It is such an incredibly satisfying payoff, and it perfectly rewards us as viewers for paying attention to all those intricate power dynamics established earlier in the scene. Which leaves us with this final, provocative thought to chew on. With a laser locked squarely on his chest and a pitch-black, soundproof room, who is truly trapped in detention now? It's a brilliant subversion of expectations, right? It leaves us absolutely energized and just desperate to see what happens in episode 6. I really hope mapping this out has given you a deeper appreciation for the mechanics of this incredible story. Keep analyzing, keep asking questions, and I will see you in the next explainer.